Live from the Bob Levy Broadcast Center, overlooking the Toms River, it's time to get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Be a part of the show, 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin, 710. Tuesday, October 11th, 45 degrees, getting up to 62 today. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 News Talk Radio. Streaming live on the Radio Pup app and WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160 to join the conversation. We are now talking to Albertine Senske. She is the manager of Archive, right?
That's correct, Jeremy.
That's awesome. Manager of Archive at Whitesbog Village. Yes?
Yeah, it's correct.
All right, I'm on fire.
Okay.
So tell me about Whitesbog Village. What's it all about?
Whitesbog Village is this dark cranberry and blueberry farm. We are part of Brendan T. Burns State Forest right now. And if we are trying to restore and re-energize what part of Jersey culture. Back in the 1960s, Whitesbog was sold to the state as part of the Green Acres Preservation Project. Right. And the basic nothing happened for 20 years. And then a group of citizens decided that we couldn't lose that culture and the history behind us. And so they formed the Whitesbog Preservation Trust. And that started to restore the village, repair the village, put the buildings back into shape, and also to provide people with a history of what was going on in New Jersey at the time and the agricultural community.
Right. So from an agriculture standpoint, what is it? It's cranberries and...
Cranberries and blueberries.
Nice.
All those blueberries that you enjoy every year is a cultivated crop and a commercial crop started at Whitesbog in 1911.
Right. Awesome. Albertine, I don't know. You didn't realize the rule, which was if you're coming to a show like this, right, and you're going to talk about blueberries and cranberries, you're supposed to come bearing fruits. I mean, literally. Right? I mean, I was all excited. I didn't even eat breakfast. Zach was going to go out and grab something at the break, and he's like, you know what? I'm sure she'll have something for us. Nothing.
Well, blueberries are totally out of season at this point, and they're just in the midst of cranberry harvest.
Oh, you're lucky then. We'll let it go then.
Okay.
All right. So when you say restore the village, like what was in the village? What kind of things will we see there?
The village there are two parts to the village. One is the part that was used for production of fruit. So you had places like a barrel producing house where the barrels where the cranberries were stored were made. You have a barrel storage house. You have the sorting, packing, and facility where the berries were brought to be prepared for market. And so that is, and you have garages and workshops, etc., things to keep the farm going. But you also had people who lived on that farm all year round, workers who lived on that farm. And so you have many homes on that farm. At one point, we had a school on that farm because the local children couldn't travel into town, and there was no school in the closest town. We're right in Browns Mills, close to Deborah Hospital. So there was no school there at that time. So they came to Whitesbog. They were brought to Whitesbog, and that was the local school. So all those kinds of villages. And after the state took over, those buildings were allowed to go into deterioration. No one lived in them. They were all cedar shake, so they fell apart. And so part of our job is to restore those buildings, put them back into use, so that now we have actual tenants occupying some of those homes in the village. So
right. So how long have you been at Whitesbog?
I've been involved in Whitesbog since 2000.
2000. You started as a volunteer then? Are you still a volunteer?
I'm still a volunteer.
But they give you like a managerial title even as a volunteer?
Yes.
Wow.
Because we have only one paid person on the staff of Whitesbog and a partial paid accountant. Everybody else that works at Whitesbog does it on a volunteer basis.
So when you started in 2000, what was the impetus for you volunteering there?
I found an ad in my local paper about seeing a cranberry harvest. And I thought I never saw a cranberry harvest, so I went out. And we were invited if anyone wanted to get involved. And the idea of learning about it and becoming a docent and taking people on tours appealed to me because I had a background as a teacher. And that's how I got started.
Okay, cool. So you're a teacher. So what did you teach?
Mathematics.
Mathematics.
I started in first grade.
You started teaching first grade. I was going to say you started I thought you started as a teacher in first grade. I was like, that you must have been like Doogie Howser, but much better.
No, I don't think so.
So you taught mathematics. For how long did you teach math for?
About 24 years.
Okay, 24 years. So do you are you familiar with like the way they teach math now? A little bit?
I suppose a little bit. It's
like the whole box math thing and all that other crazy.
Yeah.
You're not so much into that, right?
Not as much. I don't know some of the ways that they do it nowadays, but mathematics is mathematics.
That's what I think too. I try to teach I try to work with my kids on math sometimes, and I'm like, they're like, no, Dad, I have to do it this way, and I'm like, oh my God, who does it that way? Like, what are you talking about? Just get to the answer, and we'll show you how to in your mind. They don't let them do that anymore. Okay, so you got it. You were a math teacher, and you wanted to give back to the community, and so off you go to Whitesbog Village. And now 16 years later, they've given you a big promotion to the manager of archives, which involves they gave you a huge incremental raise because you went from 0 to 0. So that's perfect. And you don't have to be a math teacher to know that 0 times anything is. Zero. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So when we come back, I want to hear more because there's this whole thing about cranberry innovation, right? And that just seems unusual to me because I don't understand what you innovate with cranberries. But at Whitesbog Village, they seem to do something with that. So we can talk about that when we get back?
Surely.
Cool. Albertine, Senske, Whitesbog Village. We'll be back right after this.
Wake up with Jeremy Grunin wherever you go. Download the Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin continues. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160, 1310 and WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. We are talking Whitesbog Village. I'm sorry, Bob. It's 7:21 in the morning in case you don't have a clock or anything like that, or maybe your Samsung Galaxy blew up, or maybe your washing machine blew up. Who knows? Because it's all Samsung. Albertine Senske with us. So, Albertine, tell me about this Center for Innovation in Cranberries. What's that all about?
Well, you have to remember, Jeremy, that cranberries are a native fruit of North America. It's one of our 3 native fruits.
What are the other 2?
Blueberries and Concord grapes. High bush blueberry and Concord grapes.
Now, but I can only get Concord grapes in Massachusetts or New Hampshire. Is that right?
I'm not really sure where.
Not in Jersey, though. We don't do grapes at Whitesbog.
We don't do grapes at Whitesbog.
Gotcha. Okay.
So cranberries are native to North America, and they grow particularly well in the pine barrens of New Jersey because of the soil and the composition of the earth. And so after the bog iron industry died out in New Jersey, they needed something else, and they began to raise cranberries. But these men didn't know how to do this there because the only cranberries they knew grew wild. So it took a lot of experimentation, trial and error, and Whitesbog became part of that culture of learning about cranberries, how to produce them, how to improve them, and how to fight the diseases that will beset your cranberry vines.
Right.
one of the main things that they did with the experimental station was to learn how to fight the diseases that hit the vines. And they also found out things about sanding and how sanding helps the vines to grow. They found out how to get better yields over the years. Originally, the first cranberry bogs were actually where they had dug out through strip mining the bog iron ore. And so they just laid, where had been stripped out, they laid cranberry vines from the wild in. But after a while, you couldn't use machinery in that.
Right.
Because it was just, the ground wasn't contoured rightly. So people learned how to build machines. Out at Whitesbog, everything was done by hand. In the early 1900s, you had to pick all the cranberries by hand. And the rule of thumb was 1 person per 1 acre per season. At Whitesbog, there were 600 acres of cranberries.
Wow. That's, if I do the math in my head, because we have a math theme today, that's like 600 people that you would need.
Yes, sir. And there were.
I did that in my head.
There were 600.
I would have been like 500.
There were 600 people.
I did that with the old math, by the way, in case you're wondering.
That's very good.
Okay, good.
I mean, it was good enough for,
Right.
the Greeks and the Romans.
Absolutely.
So.
All right. So listen. By the way, Concord grapes. Much people don't realize this, but they're grown mostly in the Finger Lakes district of New York, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, southwestern Michigan, and of course the Yakima Valley in Washington. Just an FYI.
Okay.
When we get back, aside from me giving you the magic wand, I want to talk about blueberries because I feel like this is like the most underutilized fruit in the history of fruits. Like I've never had a glass of blueberry juice ever. I don't. I'm just gonna. When we come back, I want to talk about that because I'm sure you have some thoughts on the use of the blueberry in America. Albertine, Senske, Whitesbog Village. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Listen to Kevin Williams. I'm sure he's going to say something interesting, and if not, that's his fault, not mine. Back after this.
Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from Town Square Towers at the heart of the Jersey Shore. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Get up, get out, do something. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin, 7:34, Tuesday, October 11th, 45 degrees, getting up to 62 today. WOBM AM 1160, 1310, News Talk Radio, streaming live on the radio, pop app, and WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160. Join the conversation. We are joined in studio by Albertine Senske. She is the manager of archive at Whitesbog Village. That was exhausting, isn't it? I mean, it's tiring just to watch, isn't it? Yeah. Wow. So talk to me. The blueberry. Right, we've talked a lot of I think that the last half hour we've spent together is really representative of the way I feel the blueberry's been treated over the years, right? We've spent a lot of time talking about cranberries.
Oh, no.
No?
We have just spent 1 solid year celebrating the centennial of the cultivated high bush blueberry.
Really?
And last Tuesday, a week ago, we had representatives from Canada and all across the United States visit Whitesbog. They were in Philadelphia for their annual convention. And so I had blueberry growers, blueberry researchers, blueberry advertisers, everybody.
Yeah?
Yes.
And have we, I think that the only way I've ever really seen the blueberry used is like it seems like almost an afterthought in a fruit cup. Right. Or like, it goes on top of maybe some Jell-O or something. Right. But I'm a big blueberry pie fan.
That's the best way to eat
it. Isn't it?
And I have a wonderful recipe, which I didn't bring with me.
You didn't bring that with you
no,
either. So
it's cousin Everett's blueberry pie.
So Albertine, let's review.
Okay.
You didn't bring us any cranberries. You didn't
So I'll
bring us
have
any blueberries.
Guess what, Jeremy? You will get from Whitesbog.
I'm just playing.
I will call Brenda Connor today and say, Brenda, I need some Scarlet Night cranberries for Jeremy Grunin.
Nothing. We don't do anything Scarlet Night right now. We need to have them score more than we need them to score a touchdown first.
You need to eat some Scarlet Night cranberries.
All
They're
right.
marvelous.
Are they sweet or are they tart?
They're tart.
Yeah.
That's the nature of the cranberry. But this is an innovation which on the cranberry, which Brenda Connor helped to pursue and to improve. So they grow them, and that they don't go to ocean spray.
Right. So now, so is this still your season though, or are you mostly like what is the best season to visit Whitesbog? Is it now?
Any time of the year, because we are in the middle of the Pine Barrens, and so the scenery is spectacular for people who like to walk, for people who like to take pictures. We have a lot of activities going on now connected with the cranberry harvest, but we also have things during the year for blueberries. We, for instance, in the winter, we have the tundra swan watch. As the tundra swans begin to go back up to the Arctic area, and they love to settle on the bogs. So there's bird walking, there's nature, there are Pine Barren native plant walks. Something's going on different all year round.
And all kidding aside, it really is beautiful in that area. And you could see if you go on to the website www.whitesbog.org. Right, you would see all of the beautiful sites, and it really is, part of active with the New Jersey Historical Commission, with the New Jersey Council of the Arts, with the New Jersey Cultural Trust. Great place to bring the kids so they get a little piece of Americana, right? And they get some, and of course they get some blueberries and cranberries, right? And we know in our world of fast food and unhealthy eating. What better place to go?
Both are high in antioxidants.
Exactly, antioxidants.
And the ruble blueberry is the highest known piece of fruit with antioxidants.
Well, there you go. I try to get all my antioxidants from red wine, quite frankly, but that's okay.
Okay.
No comment there on that. All right, It's that time. It's that time where we give you the magic wand, the pixie dust, the fairy dust, the ability just to wiggle your nose and make something happen in the world. Albertine Senske, manager of archive at Whitesbog Village. What are you doing with that great power?
I'm trying to promote the education and the instruction of our young people particularly. And if I could change or if I could do something, I would do some innovative programming for education, because kids don't want to just learn by listening to someone talk.
Right.
So there have to be ways to involve people. And I was at a Archives and History Day in Monmouth County on Saturday, and the place was filled with life of people who are trying to do just that. So that's where I would go.
That's awesome. That is absolutely spot on, and we know that kids learn better through touching and feeling things, right? That's why STEM training is STEM or STEAM or all of that kind of education is great. We're big believers personally in learning through the arts, and in your case. At Whitesbog Village, it's learning through history. It's learning through touching and feeling and hands-on and experiencing kind of Americana, right?
But it's also learning through the arts. We have music. We have we have a photographic gallery. And people then learn about their history,
right?
And they learn about the flowers and the other plants that are there. So
very cool.
Yes.
So Whitesbog Village, www.whitesbog.org. You could also like them on Facebook.
Yes, we are at Whitesbog Preservation Trust on Facebook.
All right. Also on Instagram.
Yes.
Also on Twitter. And, of course, on Pinterest. I mean, I always forget Pinterest because I never did Pinterest. But But it's all there for you at Whitesbog Village. Albertine, thank you so much for coming in and spending some time with us today.
Thanks for having me, Jeremy.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin, back with more after this.
Rush Limbaugh today at noon. More Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin coming up next. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 11.